So in today's session, we will be understanding what is first of all AI, right? We all know that AI has become so popular since
Mansi,
2022. Yeah, I'm not
sorry to
sharing my
interrupt.
screen. I
Yeah, yeah,
know.
correct, correct.
I
Yeah,
will
okay.
be. I will be in some time. Yeah. So we all know that AI has become so popular. So we will be starting off with that. We will understand what is AI, right from the fundamental, understand the different workloads in AI, how does it shape the AI, and then we will move our focus to the topic that is, let's understand how these AI services work on Azure. Okay, we will be seeing that and we will be seeing a couple of demos how to get started on the Azure platform, right? How to use the AI services on the Azure platform so that you can kickstart your journey in AI. So let's go ahead and understand, first of all, what is artificial intelligence, because we all know it's a topic, it's something that people are talking on a daily basis, it's something that is really has gained so much momentum in the last 3 years. So what is that exactly? So if I can ask you all, like, can you all quickly put in the chat, if you don't have a problem, if you're listening to me, can you all let me know what is your understanding of AI? Yes, guys, can you all let me know in the chat what is AI according to you? So AI we know is nothing but artificial intelligence, but can you all let me know what is your understanding of AI? Yes, guys, please use the chat. Okay, I don't know if you can use the chat. You will not be able to unmute yourself and talk, but please do use the chat. Yes, absolutely. Any other definition anyone can think of? Yeah. So think of AI, we all know it's something that is nothing but a machine only that is there. It's nothing but like a system that is present, and instead of what a human can do, that system is going to do for you. Exactly, absolutely on point answers, everyone. It's nothing but a human just told what it is supposed to do. So when we think of AI, it is nothing but your brain put into like, it's nothing but what a human can do, just given to a system. Now, when we talk about AI, okay, it AI basically has two purposes. What? See, because we all know even a human can do certain tasks, right? A person is sitting there and is going to perform that task for you. But but what is that task or what is it going to do? So AI has two purposes that it has to solve. Whenever we talk about building AI systems, that system has to do something, has to give you some kind of response, has to work on some kind of things and give you that result. Now, when you go to Chat GPT and say, okay, I want an essay on some topic, or you want to draft an email, that system has to do something. It has to solve some kind of purpose. So when we talk about AI, not just Chat GPT, but of the previous models of AI that were there, whether it's machine learning or deep learning, which we will understand what it is, they had their job is to serve some kind of purpose, because a human also in a way serves, like you work at some enterprise, you're serving somebody, I am serving somebody, right? Or you're doing some business, some purpose is there in your life. So even AI has needs some purpose. So there are two purposes that AI solves. So the first purpose is inference. Now, what do I mean by this? Inference meaning to infer, to understand your data. Okay, that is you, because you give a, what is the job of AI? It has to understand what you want exactly. Now, if you go to a bank, right? And in the bank, let's say you want to apply for a loan. So now there is a human who sits and okay says, okay, whether that person should be given a loan or not. So if I have to understand whether this person is capable or is eligible to get that loan or not, we need to infer it from something. Some data has to be given through which I can okay say that okay, this person is eligible for some for the loan, right? We need to infer, understand the data, make sense out of it. So the first job that the AI is going to solve. Now, if the same thing I tell, okay, I give it to an AI system, that okay, I tell, okay, please predict, please let me know whether this person should get a loan or not. So the first thing it's going to do, it's going to infer the data, understand the data. It needs some kind of information that it to the system we need to give. So what it will do, it will infer, understand, okay, what is the salary of that person? Where does he live? Okay, what kind of job does he have? Does he have a co-income? Like, does he have his wife or some way, another source of income that is there? If he has a house already, does he have a house against which he can give me or against which I can give a loan? So these are factors that kind of contribute and help in inferring, right? Understanding the data. So the first purpose of AI that it has to solve, it is nothing but the inference. And the second purpose that we need AI, an AI system, is to predict, is for prediction. The same example, let's consider. I want to predict whether a person is going to get a loan or not. So earlier, a human sits, he looks at, infers the data that you have given. What is the salary? What is your income? Do you have any property? What is your gender? Right? All these factors kind of do play a crucial role when somebody is to be given a loan, right? So he's going to infer, and from that inference, he is going to come up with a prediction whether that loan should be given or not, right? Whether a loan to that person should be given or not. So these are the two purposes that AI, okay, it mimics. First of all, what is AI? It mimics the human brain. So instead of a human, there's a system who's sitting, a computer who's sitting, and is going to infer and predict the outcome. When I flip a coin, there is a match that is going on. I want to predict from the past data or the latest data that we have in the last couple of matches, who is won, who is lost. We will provide that data. The system will infer from that data and predict the outcome. Right. So this is what basically AI does. So over here now, if I have to solve these two purposes of AI, right? It requires, so it is going to do something, okay? It is going to achieve this purpose. It is going to solve or help us achieve these two purposes through something called as an AI model. Now, what is an AI model? Okay, it is nothing but a statistical representation of real world scenarios. Now, what do I mean by this? Let's think of an example. Let's talk about an example here. Okay, when we talk about the AI model. So let me give you an example. So let's say I want to infer and predict, right? I am a real estate agent, let's say, and I want to infer and predict what will be the price of a house, or what will be the price of a car, or stock prices, or whether that person should get a loan or not. When I flip a coin, whether it will be a head or a tail, etc., all those things, right? Let's say I want to infer and I want to predict. So let's say I'm a real estate agent and I want to predict the house price. So there are certain factors based on which the inference and the prediction has to be done. Correct. So let's say there are two factors I'm considering for now. Of course, there are a lot of factors that will be there. So the first factor I'm going to consider is what is the area of the house. And we know when we measure the area of an house, it is generally measured in square feet, right? We will have the square feet, how big is the house, what is the size of the house. Then the second thing that we are going to use is, let's say I have, of course, we all know that the price of a house depends upon the area where it is. which city it is, right? The prices in Pune and the prices in Mumbai, they will be different. It's not going to be the same. It's going to be different. Correct. So here we are going to have, depending upon the city, the price is going to be different. So the other factor that is going to be there is going to be the city. Correct. So this is your city that is going to play a crucial role. And lastly, depending upon these two factors, after inferring these two factors, we will predict the price of the house. Now, let's say I have some past data that I have, through which I have predicted the price of the house. I've inferred the data, and through that I've predicted the price of the house. So here, let's say I have a house that is 100 square feet. Okay. Let's say it is 100 square feet. And let's say it belongs to the city, Pune. Let's take your city, and let's say it belongs to the city of Pune. And let's say the price, I'm just giving a rough price. I don't know what exactly should be the price. I'm just giving, for example, here to explain what is an AI model. I'm just using this concept. So here, let's say the the model, or let's say because based on the past data or whatever, the price for a 100 square feet house in Pune is 1 CR. Just giving an example. Okay. There is another house, let's say it is 200 square feet, and it again, let's say, belongs to Pune. Okay, it is from the city Pune itself. And let's say the price of the house is 2 CR. Okay, after the prediction that we did, let's say the price of the house is 2 CR. Now, let's say I have another house that is 300 square feet, and it belongs to the city of Pune again. So can you all tell me, okay, can you all tell me what will be the price of this house? Very quickly, guys, in the chat, if you can put. So for 100 square feet, it is 1 CR in city of Pune, 200, 2 CR. So can you tell me what will be the price of 300 square feet in the city of Pune? Yes, absolutely correct. It is going to be 3 CR. So what did we do here? What did we do here? We just used some statistics, some basic mathematics, and we predicted the outcome, right? We predicted the outcome here, which told me, okay, it is going to be 3 CR. Because of the past data we inferred and whatever the prediction it had, I could determine the price of the house. And this is what exactly the AI model does. You give some mathematics, give some statistical formulas, and using that logic, using those formulas, it is going to infer and predict the outcome, right? So this is what exactly is an AI model. You think of anything, GPT, it's an AI model. You ask some question to it, it is going to give you a response. Again, it is going to use some statistics, some mathematics, and come up with a response. Similarly, your traditional ML models that you had, okay, it used some mathematics and it derives the outcome. It will derive whether a person should get a loan or not. What will be the car price? What will be the house price? What will be the stock prices? Right? This is what basically AI does. So in simple terms, this is an AI model. So you think of anything because it's supposed to mimic our human brain. So how is it going to mimic it and solve the two purpose it is going to do through this AI model, right? So this is what basically is an AI model. So whatever you think, right, when you want to work with images, you want to work with audio, video, all your cognitive skills, or you want to work with text, what is that? That is whatever outcome that is now GPT, or we talk about image analysis, or we talk about text analysis, sentiment analysis, which we will see, I will talk about it, is nothing but an AI model. It is using some maths and it is deriving or predicting the outcome for you, right? So that is what is an AI model. So over here now, when we talk about AI is a vast topic. It's something that was coined way back in the 1970s. Okay. And it's something that has evolved over time. We have seen that growth. We are seeing that growth, right? Earlier, 2022, we saw OpenAI coming in with the LLMs. right? We will discuss what is the LLMs. We will see that. Then now there is something else, that is the agentic AI that is coming into picture. So you can see within the span of 3 years, okay, there has been such a drastic change, drastic evolution in the AI part. So AI is not something that was never there. It was always there. But any technology, we all know, takes time to evolve, grows slowly. So this AI is nothing but that only. So when we talk about AI has certain workloads that are there. So AI is a broader term, but AI can be broken down into several different terms. So so this is the broader AI that we have here. Okay. Now within AI, so how to get or how to get into this AI domain, start with the AI domain. Of course, the foundation that we have to always start with the where did the AI actually start off? Okay, where did the AI foundation start? It is nothing but your machine learning. So the next workload or the very first workload that you need to know in the AI part, okay, is nothing but the machine learning. So what is exactly machine learning? So machine learning is like I should say it's like a traditional, it's the basis or the foundation of AI. Okay, it is the very first thing if you want to get started with AI. That's the very first thing that you need to know. How does an ML model work? What is machine learning? If you get to know that, you know how it works, because it's nothing but uses your simple statistics. So that is why when we get into AI or we get into data science, statistics goes hand in hand with it. Why does it go? Because it uses, like I said, it's a statistical representation. So there is some statistics, some mathematics that goes into it. So the very first workload, the very first foundation of your AI is machine learning. So machine learning is nothing but a statistic or a function. Okay, whatever you have learned, even from school, like we used to, I don't know if we have always worked on the slope formula, right? There used to be a linear equation that we used to always work on, which is y is equal to mx plus c. So it uses these values, uses these, what we say, uh, these kind of expressions, these kind of statistical formulas, and derives or predicts the outcome. So those kind of models that you develop or that kind of a workload when you work on is called as the machine learning. So this is the first subset of AI, the very foundation of AI, right? Which started off, you could predict, basic predictions could be done using mathematics, right? Gradient, slope, these things, all of this was evolved over here. Then came, because see, here when we talk about machine learning, okay, machine learning generally uses data that is in the form of tables or it's in the file collected in a CSV file, Excel or a text file. Okay, it's already been collected. So data is not just about files or the in a tabular format or something, right? Data is also images, audio, video, right? All the natural language that is involved. So you need to work with that kind of a workload also, because let's say now when we were children, right? All of us, when we all our childhood days, we all know it's a growing stage for us, right? It's something that grows in a time. So if I have to now, if our parents have to tell us what kind of a fruit it is. So let's say we are being given three fruits: apple, banana, orange. So if I have to distinguish between the three, I have to see, I should know what is an apple, or how does an apple look, how does a banana look, how does an orange look. So what we would do, so now I can't put it to any model or system. This, let's say it's an image. I can't put it to the traditional ML and say, okay, predict the outcome. Tell me whether this image, what you're seeing, the object that you're seeing, is it an apple, is it a banana, or is it an orange? I can't do that. So for that, okay, for this, we have a another model, another workload in the AI that we need to use, because data is just not about files or tables. It is about images, the text that you write, understanding the sentiment of the text, right? So that another workload or another subset of your AI came into picture, which is called as the deep learning. Okay, it is called as the deep learning. So if I have to exactly say what is deep learning, so deep learning is nothing but actually how our human brain works, right? How does our human brain work? It is connected, it uses something called as neurons. It uses neurons, okay? And it is using that those neurons interlinking one with the other and predicting, inferring and predicting the outcome. The image that I give, from that image, it has to predict whether it's an orange, apple, or a banana. Okay, so that is what is the deep learning models. So that because it's another subset. So all the models like where you analyze images, audio, video, text, right? Understand the language in the text, understand the sentiment in the text. So somebody gives a feedback. Now, if somebody asks you to rate me or give a feedback of the session, so from the way you write, right, we understand the sentiment, whether it's a positive feedback, negative feedback, or it's neutral, right? So if I want to understand all of those things, then who handles that? It is the deep learning model. And then comes, of course, because not deep learning can also has a or AI, the traditional AI that we talk about has certain restrictions, certain limitations to it. So it needs to be overcome. Of course, all those drawbacks, all those disadvantages have to be overcome. And that is when another workload came, right? Because there are certain drawbacks in the traditional AI, there are that is why another workload came into picture, which we all know, which is very popular nowadays, right? It is nothing but your generative AI, right? It is nothing but your generative AI. So if I have to talk about the entire ecosystem of AI, this is what basically it comprises of. So you start off with machine learning, evolving into deep learning, and now Gen AI, and not just now Gen AI. You also have the you also have the agentic AI, and soon I think you have like more things of AI coming into picture, right? So this is this is how the AI ecosystem looks like. Now, when we talk about AI, or I told you when we have to work on AI, it of course uses an AI model, right? Now that model could be a machine learning model, deep learning model, Gen AI meaning LLM, right? Large language models. So NLPs are there. All those are nothing but AI models only, which in a way use maths, use some formulas, use some functions, okay, on the data and predict the outcome. So when we have to predict this, now to this AI model, we need to give some data, right? We need to provide some data to the AI model. So when you give data, okay, to the AI model, now this data should have some rows and columns. Okay, there should be some data that needs to be given to the AI system, to the AI model, based on which, otherwise, how is it going to predict the outcome or infer the data? If you don't provide the data, it's not going to give you the outcome, right?
ट्रांसलेटर
So
डालना है
over
उसमें
here,
इसमें ये डाल फिर ये कोई तो फिल्म अपने को गाना देखो बस
guys, please do not unmute yourself and start talking. If you're not talking to me, just keep yourselves on mute, because we are recording the session, right? So we don't want to hear all the background noises that are there. So please keep yourselves on mute as much as possible. So when we give now, we need to predict the outcome, we need to infer the data. So for that, we need to provide the data. And this data that we provide needs to have some rows and columns, right? So now over here, when we talked about, now let's come back to this example. So we gave some what? We gave the data. Now that data had rows and columns based on which it predicted the outcome, inferred and predicted the outcome. So here it had some columns, correct? So here when we now, if I want to, I predicted the price, right? So over here, what did I use in order to predict the price? I used the square feet and the city to predict the price. So the columns that I use in order to infer and do the prediction, those columns in your data, okay, those columns in your data is called as the feature column. It is called as the feature columns. So those factors, that information that you provide, based on which the prediction is done. Because here, how did I predict the price? I used two columns, that is the square feet and the city. So those two columns are called as the feature columns, which help us in predicting the outcome, right? But now over here, we predicted what? We predicted the price or our target. The other name for it is target. So here my target was what? To predict the price, right? What is my target? To determine whether a person should get a loan or not. When I flip a coin, what will it be? Whether it will be head or tail, whether a transaction that I'm doing online from GPay, okay, whether that transaction is going to be a success or is it going to be a failure. I want to know that, right? So the outcome or what it is supposed to predict, if you have that information or in a column, that column is called as a target column. Okay, that column is called as a target column. So the column that you predict or the AI system predicts, right, is called as a target column. Now, when we give this data, I told you you need the column. So here your square feet and the city is the feature columns and your price is the target column. Now, when we give this, okay, to the, or when we submit this to the AI system, naturally, not always will you have the target column, right? In your data, it's not possible that you will have the target column. So over here, how will the AI do the prediction then? Now, there are two kinds of learning. It understands, or there are two kinds, yeah, I would say actually learning over here that the AI does. One without the target column and one without, sorry, one with the target column and the other without a target column. So it's like, think of when you go to a class, okay, or when you're learning a topic. So when you're learning, right now I'm there, I mean, the entire Pune tech community is there to help you, guide you on how can you kickstart your journey in the AI domain, right? We all of us are there, and we are there to guide you, understand what is AI, take you through the Azure AI services. We are here to guide you and tell you, okay, this is how you can go about. But at times there can be scenarios where you might not use our help, or there might be not be someone to guide you. You want to do it on your own. You want to learn on your own, improve on your own. Go to a couple of websites, refer to YouTube channels, go on Instagram, see a lot of reels that people have put in, see a lot of blogs, read about them, go to specific websites and understand how can I get started with the AI and learn about it. So here also, when you give the data, right, the model is going to keep on learning from the data, understand, infer from the data, right? So if it has to infer from the data and do the prediction, so it learns, okay? The model is continuously learning. So this learning has two types to it. Okay, there are two types of AI model that you can create. Through the learning it creates, okay, there are two types of AI model. The first is the supervised learning. Okay. And the second one, we all know, I'm pretty sure everyone is aware, is the unsupervised learning. So what is exactly, in technical terms, what is exactly supervised learning? It is nothing but, okay, where you can go, where you have your teacher present. Okay, you have your teacher here in the classroom guiding you, telling you how you are supposed to go about with the AI journey. So here, when we give the data, okay, to the data, you not just have the feature columns, right? You not just have the feature columns, but you also have the target column in your data itself. So now the AI is more aware, right? What should be my exact output? What should be my exact outcome, right? How should my prediction be done? Based on the past data, I have to infer and I can predict it. So it knows what its target is and it does the prediction. So such a learning where I'm telling you, if you start like this, go like this, do this, okay, this is how you will get into the AI domain. I'm there to guide you all. So here also, when you have in your data, you have the target column. So it knows what should be the outcome. It kind of knows or is aware about it. So such a learning is called as the supervised learning. Okay. But at times there can be scenarios where you might not have this. Right? You might not have the target column. What you will have is only the feature columns. Right? You will just have the feature columns, and based on that, you have to predict the outcome. You're totally unaware. You're going and you are doing the research on your own. There's nobody to guide you, tell you, okay, this is the outcome. You're going and you're trying it out on your own and you're seeing what is going to be the output. So over here, this is what basically is the type of AI models. Now, supervised learning, when we have to perform, it can have, now when we talk about working with data in AI, okay, when we talk about data in AI. Okay, so we will also talk about the limitation of AI and why generative AI also came in. We will also understand because of that. Okay, so here, when we work with the data, so we will club two things and we will understand over here. So when we talk about the data in AI or the outcome, okay, that it is going to predict, because that is what is the purpose of AI. It is going to predict the outcome, right? So it does prediction into or the data that it predicts. It has two categories, or it is predicted in two ways. One is the discrete data, okay, and or discrete, or we'll say I'll talk about discrete, and the second is continuous. Okay, the second is continuous. Now, what do I mean by discrete? Discrete meaning finite. Okay, discrete meaning finite. So over here, when I say discrete meaning finite, so for example, there can be two outcomes that are further predicted in the discrete. One can be numeric, okay, one can be numeric, and second could be non-numeric data. Okay, one could be numeric and second could be non-numeric data. Now, what do I mean by this exactly? So numeric, when I say it's discrete numeric that it is predicting, so we all have played with a dice, right? We all have played with a dice. So a dice is what? We know there are only 6 numbers on a dice. So what does it do? So what does a dice, when we roll a dice, what are we going to get as the outcome? It is only going to be 6 numbers. Nothing beyond 1 to 6 only. These are the numbers only that we are going to see. We are not going to see any other number, right? When we are rolling a dice, it could be any number between 1 to 6. So what is that? That is a discrete numeric outcome, which the AI can predict, right? Based on their past data, it will infer and it can predict the outcome. So we can get a discrete numeric outcome in the AI, right? When we work with the traditional AI. So that is nothing but the example here, that is of a rolling dice, correct? Which is numeric and discrete, correct? Now, at times, it can also predict a non-numeric discrete output. So when we talk about whether a person should get a loan or not, when we flip a coin, whether the outcome is going to be a head or a tail, a transaction when we are performing online can either be a success or a failure. The weather today, it can either rain or it will not rain. It will be this temperature or it will not be that. I mean, that will be, it can either rain or it will not rain. So what is it doing? It is predicting a non-numeric discrete output, kind of categorizing them. classifying the data, correct? So that is nothing but the non-numeric discrete output that your AI can give, that your AI can predict, correct? So that is the discrete, non-numeric, yes, no, success, failure, prediction of a gender, male, female, other, right? Prediction of whether a team will win or not, whether India will win today or not, or will it lose, or will it be a draw? All those kind of are discrete, non-numeric predictions, right? So this is what an AI can also do, right? When we say talk about the traditional AI models, whether it's ML or deep learning, okay, these models when we are developing, so it is going to do a supervised learning or an unsupervised learning, but when it gives the outcome in the target column, it can be a discrete outcome or it can be a continuous outcome. Now, this discrete can be numeric, non-numeric. Okay. It's the same thing with continuous numeric as well. So it can predict a numeric continuous output. Like, for example, this example that we talked about is nothing but a continuous numeric. Your car prices, stock prices, house prices, weather information. Sorry, guys, just 1 second. So this is what the traditional AI is going to also predict, right? Which is continuous, and every time it predicts, the outcome is going to be different, right? The outcome is going to be different. Now, the supervised learning can give you a continuous numeric outcome. Unsupervised can also do the same thing. It can give you these outputs, right? But what can your traditional AI not give you? Okay, what is it not able to predict is the non-numeric continuous output. It will not know. This is what it will not be able to predict or give you as the output. This is something that is lacking in the traditional AI. Okay, this is what is something that is lacking in the traditional AI. That is why, like for example, can you predict what will be the YouTube comments that people are giving? No, right? We cannot predict that. The traditional AI, when we talk about a ML or a deep learning model, the traditional AI cannot predict. And that is what is the limitation of AI. And that is why we got a new AI workload or a new sort of AI, which is called as the generative AI. Okay. Because it can predict. It can give you a continuous now. It can give you an essay on any topic that you like. It can give you an essay on any or draft an email for you, because that's not something the AI can predict. But since generative AI came, it could do that prediction, right? So this is how AI has evolved. Of course, there are a lot more things in the AI part. So supervised learning, the outcomes, what is the limitation of AI, what are the different models, right? That is what basically AI comprises. And we all know that there are so many vendors out there in the market that offer AI services, right? We have, you can even create earlier, it started off with Python. Python is, and it's still there. I mean, if you have to really work on AI, create your own models, customize your models. You still need to know the Python language. You have to know how to work with Python. Okay, because that's the only way you can develop your own ML, DL models. That's the foundation. I mean, that's the language that is used. Okay, so over here, now, like I said, AI has a lot of vendors, a lot of people are there in this game to manage and provide AI solutions to you. And one such provider is the Microsoft Azure Cloud, is the Microsoft Cloud or Microsoft Enterprise, right? Who has a cloud which is called as the Microsoft Azure. So this Azure Cloud that we have, okay, it provides or helps you to start working with the AI, because you need a lot of compute to create your own AI model to develop, or you can also use, okay, the pre-existing AI models on the Azure services. So when we talk about the Azure platform or the Azure AI products, so these are the AI services that the Azure cloud provides. Yeah. So if you see, these are the AI services. So if you want to work with the AI tools, right? You want to analyze images, you want to understand the language, summarize a document, okay, understand what are the objects in the images, etc., etc. All of those models. Okay, like I said, one way is you can customize it, you can create your own models. So you need a very thorough understanding of how Python code is written. So you can definitely build your own, or you can use one of the cloud platforms, and on the cloud platforms, you have these ready-made models, which are given in the form of services, which you can use for whatever work you want to do with AI. So it has its own predefined code, which of course they will not reveal it to us, but you can definitely use that and you can get started with the Azure AI or start using the AI services on Azure. So these are the services that are there. Okay, these are the services that are available on the Azure cloud. So Azure, basically, this has divided. Okay, now earlier, like I said, this is a technology that is evolving and etc. So Microsoft also is it's been, I mean, AI services have been there and it has kind of kept on evolving. Okay, so if I have to work with Azure, so if I have to work with AI services on Azure, I can do it in a couple of ways. Okay, all these services, they have been introduced or they have been put on a platform, which we call it as the Azure AI Foundry. Okay, it is called as the Azure AI Foundry. So this is the platform or the portal that Microsoft has built in order to use all your AI services on Azure. You want to work, you want to use these models, these AI models that are already being developed, and you want to build an application around it, then you can use the pre-existing models. Where to find them? Okay, so one of the portals or one of the platforms that you can use is the Azure AI Foundry, which has everything. Okay, it has everything. You have all your deep learning models, your LLMs, which the generative AI, okay, which the generative AI uses, which is your large language models. Okay, so this is what basically it uses. So all these, what are these LLMs? It's nothing but your GPT, DALI, right? All those things that you hear, they are nothing but your LLMs. Those models are used in order to perform or generate some content. It could be a text, it could be an image, it could be audio, video, whatever, right? There are so many LLMs out there and so many vendors who provide these LLMs. So if I want to work with LLM, I want to work with the cognitive skills or the deep learning skills where I handle speech, I handle text, I handle documents like PDFs or PDFs or handle images, then I can do that and I get those services on a single platform, which is called as the Azure AI Foundry. Okay, it is called as the Azure AI Foundry. So you can create a collective resource of all your AI services on the Azure AI Foundry, or you can use them as standalone resources also, standalone AI models or services, okay, which you can create in the Microsoft Azure cloud. So you can use a service also, or you can create them as a multi-service. So let's say you are building an application, and in your application, you require the language model, you require the image model, you require the GPT model or the LLM. You can have it in one service, which is called as the multi-service also, multi-resource service actually, it is called. So you can have that, or you can have a standalone resource created also. So if you don't want all the other models, you just want to work with the LLM, or you just want to work with the image or with the language, you can do that by creating a standalone service as well. So this is how you work on the Azure AI. I mean, in the Azure AI, this is how you get started. This is how the services are created. So the model, the AI model that we talked about, it's already been created. It's not something I have to create. I'm just using those pre-existing models on Azure for building my application around it. Okay, so we will build our application around it, and that is what basically Azure AI gives us. Now, when we create, okay, any Azure AI service, it could be the language model, it could be any of these services that I listed down, we would be using them. So there are two things that always get created with it. Okay, there are always two things that are going to be created with it. One is called as the key, okay, and second is the endpoint. So what is the endpoint? What is a key? So your endpoint is nothing but the URL of your model. Like how we have addresses, right? Where we stay, we have an address to our house. So what is that address? It is nothing but the endpoint. So because all these services that you create, they will be created where? On the cloud, right? On the cloud platform. So where is it exactly lying? I need to know the address, right? Because let's say I want to share or I want to use this model and I want to build a client application around it. So the client has to be given permission to go and use that model, to know where that model is, then it can use it in its application. Otherwise, how will I use it or how will it use it? No idea, right? No way of knowing it. So what does endpoint do? It is nothing but like your address. But now once you go to your home, you for security reasons you need to protect it. So what do? You have a lock to your house. To there is a key to that door, right? You put a lock, and through that key, what do? You open the lock and you can get into the house. So if the client has to use your model, so you need to give him permission that, okay, you can enter, this is where the model is, and use it in your end application. So we need to provide that key so that they can open the door and use the model with the address that we have given them, right? So over here, if the delivery guy has to come and deliver your product, you need to give him the address so that he can come. And once he comes, you need to open the door and collect it, right? So if I open the door, that means I'm giving him the access that, okay, you can go, come and give me the package. So here also I need, if I have to give it to the client that, okay, you come and use this AI model, then we need to give the address and the permission that, okay, you can come enter the house and use this AI model. So we need to give the key. So whenever you create any service on the Azure platform, any AI service, there are two things that are always going to be there. One is the key, and second is the endpoint. Okay, second is the endpoint. So here, now let's go ahead and very quickly understand what is the Azure AI Foundry. Okay, I will very quickly show you all how to work with AI Foundry. How can you use the LLM? What kind of models are there? And we will also see some standalone service like a image service. We will see how to use the Azure, and we will understand the concept of key and endpoint. So here, what we will do, one demo I'll show you all using the Azure AI Foundry portal, which will be more like a low code, I mean, no code approach. And then second, we will see how to analyze images where I already have a code written. So I will just walk you all through the code and we will see how we can analyze the image using the image model, where we will create a standalone image, or we call it in the Azure AI service as the computer vision service. So we will create a computer vision standalone service, and we will see how to work with it, right? So now let's go ahead and use the Azure AI Foundry. So if I have to use the Azure AI Foundry, we need to use this endpoint, which is called as the azure.ai.com. Okay, so this is the actually it's ai.azure.com. I'm very sorry about that. So this is the Microsoft Foundry. Okay, they have changed the name also now. So you will have to go to the Microsoft Foundry, and this is where you can work with the LLM, work with all the collective Azure AI services. So I'm going to very quickly sign in. I've already logged into my portal. So it's just going to be a single sign in here. I just have to switch the directory. Yeah. So over here, I am going to go ahead and create. So if you scroll down, so this is your Microsoft Foundry, everyone. Earlier, the name was Azure AI Foundry, but now they have changed the name to Microsoft Foundry. So if you see, this is how your Foundry looks like. Okay, this is the new, it's not the new Foundry, it's the old one only. But if you see here, we have a model catalog, right? If you go to the model catalog, you will see not just because Microsoft, we all know, has a tie-up with OpenAI, right? So all the OpenAI models it can use in its own solution. You can use it in your own solution. But not just that, there are other third-party models also that are there. So if you scroll down, you will see you have DeepSeek, you have Llama, you have Gemini, okay, all those kind of LLMs. Not just of Microsoft or OpenAI, but you can also see other this thing. So you can see DeepSeek. We have DeepSeek here. We have the Llama model. You have Mistral. Okay, all those third-party sources models also you can use. So they will nothing but be deployed on the Azure platform itself, and you will be you will be able to use those models and create your or create a chat application, right? You can create a chat application. Why? Because you get the key and the endpoint. So you have to embed that in your code, and you will be able to use that key and endpoint and give it to the client and say, okay, use this model within your enterprise, and you can start asking questions, right? Prompts and all those things over here. So now let's see how to work with the Microsoft Foundry. Let's just create a simple GPT-4o I'm going to use as the LLM, right? And let's understand how to use the Foundry service. So here what I'm going to do is I am going to click on the go back. And over here we have just a second. Okay, I'll just do one thing. Just search for GPT-4o. So I'll be using this model, and we will be developing a LLM. I mean, the LLM's already there. We're just deploying this. Okay, we will be using this model. And over here, we just have to give a name to this project. So what I want to do actually, wanted to create Okay, whatever model we get, we'll just very quickly create one now. I'm going to use this model. So we are going to give it a name, right? I'm just going to very quickly give it a name. And I'll keep the resource group as it is, the Foundry resource. So these all things I'm going to give it. So here we are just creating a project wherein all our, so what does this project basically do? It's going to comprise all your AI services, including the LLMs, okay, the model that you develop. So it's going to include all of that here. So we are just creating like a collective, like how we create a project, and inside a project we have everything, right? So that's what we are doing here. I'm just creating a simple project, and inside that project, we will be adding all of it will be available to us. So here I'm just going to click on the create button, and we will just wait for this to be created till the time this is getting created. Okay, till the time this gets created, let's do one thing. Let's understand how to create a standalone computer vision service. So either you can use the Foundry and you can do it, or you can also use the Azure portal and you can develop a standalone computer vision service. So here, let's very quickly do that. And I have the code ready. So I'm just going to open the code and very quickly explain it to you all. So I'll be using the Visual Studio code, and I have the code written here. Yeah. So this is the code that I have that I'll explain. So let's just see very quickly how to create a standalone image service, computer vision service. We will see. So I'll come to the, I've already logged into my Azure portal. So I'll come to Microsoft Foundry, just search for this in your Azure portal. Okay. And just 1 second, guys. Let me just click on the, yeah. So this is your Foundry that is available on the Azure. So here, if you go to more services, you will see all the services which you can use as standalone. So here we are going to create the computer vision service, right? I'll just click on the create button here. And I'll use the same resource group that we had created while we use the, I hope everyone's aware at least what is a resource group, what is a subscription, because those are the fundamental things on Azure. When you're working, you need to know how to use them, what does it mean, what does it signify, right? All those things you do need to know. So here I'll just very quickly give it a name. And I'll go with the free tier for now. I'm going to use this and just enable this. This is nothing but responsible AI because you're working with personal data. So you have to use it responsibly. So that's what it is telling me. Okay, you have to use it responsibly. Just certify that and just click on the review plus create button here. Just click on the create. So let's let this model get deployed. Now till the time, let's see whether this has been created. So yes, it has been created. Now just click on the deploy button here. So you can see we have some number of tokens because we are going to write prompts. It's a chat model, right? It's a chat GPT model 4.0, we know. So here we will be writing some questions. We'll ask some questions as prompts. So here we have some limit of the tokens that is there. You can definitely customize it if you click on the custom button. So you can customize the number of tokens if you want less. It all depends on the subscription and the version. All those things come into picture. But here I'll go with the standard one. Just click on the deploy button. and it is going to deploy a GPT-4o model. Okay, so if you see here, we have the GPT-4o model. Now let's start using this model, ask questions. So if you see, when we deploy this model, along with that, can you see there is an endpoint and a key? Right, there's an endpoint and a key. What now I have to do is, I just have to develop a client application in the Python, using Python. Okay, we just have to develop that application, and we have to just submit this key and endpoint. So normally this key and endpoint is always given to a file, is always written in a file, which is called as the environment variable file. Okay, it's always submitted in this. It's not hard coded directly. Okay, it's kind of done via this file, because we don't want to directly use it in the code security and etc. So what we do, we kind of embed it in the environment variables file. So it's a .env file that we create. So this same file I'll be using in the image analysis, where I'm not going to hard code my, that is why I can change this. So these values I'm going to change. Okay, I'm not going to add it for the model, GPT model, but I'll just make change for the AI model here, AI image model that we have. So I'll just very quickly comment this. Okay, just going to save this. So you have to always give the key and the endpoint, as I said, because the client has to use this application. Now, if I have to use the GPT-4o model, we can either use it via the chat application, or you can also use the playground, like how you go to the GPT or chat GPT. If you go to the OpenAI service, where you have a playground where you can just go and write questions, ask prompts, write prompts or ask questions. So the same thing we will be doing here. Okay, I will be using this playground and I will be asking questions to this. So here, one more thing that we have in the playground or in this deployment that we have is that if we give a persona, okay, to that particular model, like let's say I told you, when we try to predict the uh, prices of the house, right? I told you I'm a real estate agent and I want to kind of predict the prices and etc. So here also, if we add that personality to your model, and via that personality, if we try and answer, the responses that the model gives is much better. Okay, it's much better. So here, if I just ask a question, I've just given it a general. So that persona that we call is called as a system prompt. Okay, it's a system prompt. So here, let's say I'm asking a very generic question. So I'll say, what are the key events in the history of India? Let's say, very generic question. So here I'll just give this, or I'll ask this question, and you can see it's generating a response. It's going to be very generic, that the response that we are going to get is very generic. Okay. But to this now, if I want to improve the response of this answer or this output that I'm getting, what we can do, so here you can see we have something called as a system prompt. So what will a system prompt do? It's like a persona, like I said. So let's say if you have a history teacher, and through the perspective of that history teacher, you want to give this response. Because here it's a generic response that I'm getting. But let's say I wanted more like, okay, if there is a history teacher and that history teacher is kind of giving me a response to the question I have asked. So if I add this persona, any persona you can add, like a travel agent or a employee working at the bank or whatever. Okay, any persona you can add, and through that persona, if you answer, the response is going to be much better. So here I can just change this. I can say you are a history teacher, right, who can answer questions about past events all around the world. Okay, not just related to India, but all around the world. Like if you want to know about the what we say, you want to know more about the World War II or World War One or Vietnam War or whatever kind of wars that have happened, you can just ask those questions. So not just related to the Indian history, but all across the world. So you need to apply these changes. Just click on this button. Just click on the continue option. And now if you ask this same question, okay, I'll just copy this question here. So you can see, I mean, I don't know how much difference is there, but it will be a better response compared to the other. Okay, so if you add a persona, it always will be a better response that you will get, right? So if you want like a travel, you're a travel agent and somebody is asked you, okay, what can you give me a 3-day itinerary to Kerala? Okay, all those questions you can add. So you can just change this prompt, tell, okay, you act as a travel agent and give me the response. So this is also possible. A lot of things you can do, not just this, but you can also change this in number of ways. You can develop, like I said, write a Python code, use the key point and the uh, key, and submit this to your end user. Okay, so this is how you can use the LLM, not just the 4.0 model, guys. You have 5 also, 5.1 has also come, and you can use and develop a client application. So here we have this resource that is ready. So I'll just go to the I'll go to the computer vision service, and you can see this service has been created. Just click on this service and come to the resource management. And in the resource management, which is on the left hand side, can you see we have keys and endpoints? Just go there. So now we need to use this keys and endpoints. So with every service, remember, on Azure, when you create any model that you develop, you will always get a key and an endpoint, which you can make use of, and you can create a client application. So here I already have the code ready, right? I already have this code ready. So what it is going to do basically, it's going to use the computer vision service and it is going to analyze images. Okay, so here I have certain images. I'll just show you all those images here. So I have these images. One is a building image that I have. Okay, this image, then it is going to analyze this image. Okay, when I tell, okay, you are supposed to analyze this, so it's going to analyze this image and detect if there is a person or not, if there is any object or not. Okay, this is what this particular image or this service is going to do. So now let's go ahead. I need to first of all change the key and the endpoint, right? Because it's a new service I have created. So I'll just copy this and I will add it to this variable. Just copy it and paste it. It has to be given in a string format. Always remember that. And copy the key. So you can copy any one of the keys. That's not a problem. Any key you can copy and we will paste it here. Just save this. Now I'm going to go ahead and run this particular file, this Python file that I have. So in order to run it, what we will say, Python, the name of the file that is image, sorry, I forgot the name, image-analysis.py. So I'm going to this -analysis.py and just specify the image that you want to first analyze. So here I'll just say street.jpg, that's the JPEG format, and it will use the model that is online, okay, and it is going to start analyzing. So can you see it has analyzed the image and it has given me output. Okay, so it has added captions like what is this image talking about. Okay, and along with that, can you see we are getting a confidence score? So what is this confidence? It is nothing but how confident it is about what is shown in the image, like how we are confident about certain topics. So here it is just giving a percentage of how confident it is about that particular image, that there is a man who's walking a dog on a leash on a street. Okay, so that is what is indicated by this. And if you now go to this image path, okay, if I come here, I will get, if I refresh this very quickly, I will see, I should see an object file. Yeah, over here, I have this objects file that is getting for image that is getting created, where it is, if you see, marking the objects that it can see in the image. So can you see there is a person, there's a taxi, there's a dog, and you can see it has added captions to it. So this is what basically the image analysis is going to do. Of course, you can customize this, no doubt, but you will have to train the model accordingly. Custom vision can be done. Okay, but here it is being trained on some on data that was available, and it has done this prediction. We can also do it for the other images also that we have in the folder. So you have to just say Python and just change the name of your image that you want to analyze. So here we can go with the building image that we have, and you will see it is doing the analysis here, picking up that it is giving a confidence score, it is giving a caption. A dense caption is nothing but a more elaborate caption over here, and you can see the confidence that is there. Where is the image? What is the XY coordinates? You can see. And now if you come to the objects image that it creates, can you see it has marked the object, plotted a box. So this box is called as a bounding box where the object is seen. Okay, where the object is seen. So this is your, this is one of the things you can do. You can also do it for one last image here, which is of Satya Nadella. So you can say person.jpg and you can analyze this image over here. Right? So you can use one of the models, pre-trained models. These are all trained. Okay, the training or the learning that we talked about, these are all pre-trained, and some data has already been used to train them. We are just giving our own data. It's using the same logic. Again, some mathematics is used. Don't think maths is not used. Okay, based on that, it is basically training and giving us the output. So these are some of the capabilities of the Azure cloud that you can use. Okay, so this is the image analysis you can do. You can use the GPT models, right? Develop client applications using these existing models, submit, give the keys, give the endpoint, and create your own application. So this is what basically is covered in when we talk about Azure AI services. This is what you learn. Okay, of course, you learn about agentic AI also and using the language model, document intelligence, all the other services also. Okay, so if you want to learn more about this, you want to actually get in uh, depth and understand this. Okay, so here you can focus on a certification that Microsoft offers, which is called as, or the number is AI 102, which is called as Microsoft Certified as your AI engineer associate. Okay, so this is a certification which covers all the AI services on the Azure cloud, right from the generative AI to the deep learning models you can use, which are already trained on the Azure cloud. You're just using them and you're developing applications. So all this code and everything that you just saw, it was already been written, and you just learn how to, you don't learn Python, of course, in this course, but you just learn how to develop the client application using the Azure AI services. So either you create it on the Foundry service or you have it available on the Foundry service. So if you go to the overview, if you scroll down, come to the management center, not management center, I'm sorry. If you just come to the Not the templates. I'm just click on this. And yeah, I'm just looking. They've actually changed the this thing. Just a second. Yeah. So if you just come here, so you have all these existing models even in the Foundry. So I told you it's a compilation, unified platform of all the AI services. So here also you can come and you can analyze the images or the text or etc. So you can add images. Okay, you can see all the same things that we got from the code. You can even do that using the low code or the no code. I mean, this is a no code approach that you can use. So you can do the object detection, the face analysis, document analysis, okay, intelligence, all of that you can use and you can detect objects, all of those things. You can also do work with the language model, speech model. So either you can write a Python code, use this model, create it as a standalone service and develop an application around it, or you can develop it on the Foundry service where you get all this capability and you can work on any workload that you want. So let's end the session here.